Decisions, decisions, decisions. Whether good or bad, we all make them in relationships. But why do we make bad decisions when it comes to relationships? How can we set ourselves up to make better decisions? Well, we are talking about it all on today's podcast. I'm your host, Angie Rolle, the teen wife who turned my relationship struggles into strength, marital woes into wins, and made the mistakes so you don't have to. I've conquered the mission on how to build a successful relationship. So stick around with me and let's talk love. Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to episode 48, Decisions in Relationships. So let me tell you a quick story. Today I went out on a date with my husband. We went to a new coffee shop. And for those who don't know, I absolutely love coffee. But my body does not like coffee. Every time I drink it, I get very, very sick. I have nausea, I get a headache, and all of this good stuff. And it just doesn't sit well with me. And so I got my vanilla latte. The place was such a vibe. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted it in my stories. So if you don't follow me over there, please go ahead and follow me. I love Inspiry on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I show more of my personality over there, behind the scenes of my relationship, all that good jazz. And we shoot the stuff over there. We have a good time. So basically, we went to this coffee shop. I was enjoying it. It was such a vibe. My husband was eating his waffle. I was drinking my coffee and my vanilla latte, and he was having his orange juice. And so we were just chilling. Within 30 minutes, homegirl over here got sick. Nauseous, headache, wasn't feeling good, had to come straight home and do what I needed to do to relieve myself, take some pain medicine and all that good stuff. But I started realizing, girl, why do you keep making these bad decisions? Why do you know that coffee does this to you and you still choose to drink coffee? And it's because I really love coffee. I really want the coffee. And I started thinking about it and correlating it with relationships. We make bad decisions, right? Because we really want to be in this relationship. We really like this person. We really just feel like this is the best decision for us when it's really, really not. And so that's why we're here today to talk about bad decisions in relationships, guys. So I wanted to highlight 3 bad decisions that I see people making in their relationships. Of course, there's a plethora of bad decisions, but I will be here all day talking about those bad decisions that they make. And the first thing is staying with the wrong person. Not realizing that we want our partner to be something that they are not. What we want our person to be and who they are is not adding up. And so we make bad decisions by staying in that relationship, knowing down the line that this is not going to be a good look for us. It's going to cause us heartache. It's going to cause dysfunction and all of these things. Another bad decision that we make in relationships is letting things slide or not expressing ourselves to our significant other because we think a person will leave us, not realizing that the right person is going to respect our thoughts. The right person is going to respect our boundaries. The right person is going to respect our opinions. They're going to respect us. They're not going to challenge our boundaries. They're not going to, challenge us in a way that's going to morally corrupt us. They are going to be the person that's your person. Another bad decision that we make is waking up and choosing violence, right? So, and what I mean by this is a lack of self-control can have us in a frenzy. When we know that when we choose violence, words hurt. We cannot take back words. We cannot take back things that we say. We can apologize. We can say, oh my gosh, I was in the heat of the moment, blase, like the Will Smith punch. He can't take back that hit. It's out there forever, and the same thing happens in your relationship. But why do we continuously make these bad decisions? Of course, those were just 3 examples that I wanted to share with you. And like I said, there's a plethora of other things, but I wanted to talk about, again, going forward into this subject, is why we continue to make bad decisions in our relationship. And you guys know what I'm about to get at with this first thing, and it's talking about childhood trauma. If we don't start unpacking our trauma while we're single and dealing it, with how we were raised, where we were raised, sexual abuse, abandonment, if we don't start unpacking that before we enter relationships, we are going to unpack it in the relationship, and guess what? It's not going to be folded up pretty. And what I mean by that It's not going to be put in a suitcase nicely. It's not, it's going to come out wrinkled. And what I mean by that, you're going to have so much turmoil in your relationship because you're not unpacking what you need to unpack properly. And I speak from experience with this. I had so much trauma when I got with my husband, and it was loaded off onto him. You know, I had this idea of perfection, and that perfection exists, and it was loaded off onto him to where I was expecting him to dot every I. I was expecting him to cross every T. Now I realized the people in my family weren't perfect, but it was so ingrained into me that that's what I was expecting from my significant other. We make bad decisions because we want to be accepted, right? So maybe we were bullied, or maybe we felt left out as a child, or whatever the case may be. And now you have this idea of you just want to be accepted by anybody. So when you want to be accepted just by anybody, you will accept anything. You're going to make bad decisions because all you care about is being accepted. We make bad decisions because our biological clock is ticking, right? So, you know, women that maybe over 34, 35 who have never been married, all of a sudden they'll just marry anybody. They'll marry anybody just to say that they're married because that's what they want in life. Not saying this for every woman, because I know a lot of women that don't desire to get married, and guess what? That's okay. But if you desire to get married, I would advise you not to rush it. The same thing with having children. So a lot of women, they have children with just anybody. They're not getting to know who they're with because they're looking at it from a biological clock. Now, of course, stuff just happens, right? But some women intentionally do this. Another reason why we make bad decisions in our relationship is we are getting benefits from it. So what I mean by this is, a lot of us are in relationships because it's benefiting us. Think about this for a minute. If look at celebrities, if you look at some of these ball players' wives, some of them, not all of them, but how many do we know that when the career is over, money runs dry, they leave them because they were there for a benefit? It's a bad decision, right? And it happens in our relationships. We stay for the benefit of the relationship. We stay for status purposes. We stay for whatever the case may be. This person may have a good job, or whatever the case may be. They may take care of their family. They may be a crappy partner, but they're a great father, or whatever the case may be. All of these things are why we make bad decisions. Another thing is we think we can change the person, right? So we see this all the time. I'm thinking, if I just change up my creamer in my coffee, if I go from a coffee to a latte, maybe a macchiato or a cappuccino or whatever, oh, nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm trying to change a situation that it just is what it is. I cannot help that coffee makes me sick, and I should not try to change that. I should just accept it and deal with it. Okay, maybe you shouldn't drink coffee. Maybe if you go, you need to get a strawberry banana smoothie. And that's the same thing in our relationships. We cannot change a person. What I want people to understand with this is, and change has to come organically. If you try to change your partner, and they may change for a little bit, but because it's not organic, because it's not something that they want to do, it's not going to last. And what happens when it doesn't last is it turns into resentment on both ends, because now they're frustrated because they're doing something that they don't want to do, and then when they stop doing it, you're upset because they weren't doing it, then they were doing it, now they aren't doing it again. So let's stop trying to change people. If you are not going to accept them for what they are, and be okay with that, like fully okay with that, not halfway okay with it, then let it go. Stop trying to change people, because forced change is not change that's going to last over time. Okay, another thing why we make bad decisions in relationship, because we are letting our emotions get the best of us. We are allowing our emotions to take control. We are thinking, you know how they say men think with their thing instead of their brain? That's how we as women think. We're thinking based off of emotions, like, you know, I really love coffee. Guys, I love coffee. I really do. But I know I can't drink it. I really love this man, but I know he ain't good for me. It's the same concept here. Another thing, the last thing that I want to talk about, you are reacting instead of responding. And I talk extensively about this in my emotional intelligence for relationship. It's a workshop that's coming out very, very soon, and it's teaching about emotional intelligence in relationships. I think it's like 3 or 4 parts, and it goes into depth about emotional intelligence. So you definitely want to follow me over there on social media to keep an eye out on when that's coming out. I'm really taking my time with this workshop because I really think emotional intelligence is key to a successful relationship. Understanding your own feelings and then understanding somebody else's feelings, that's going to get y'all somewhere for real. So you're reacting instead of responding. And what I mean by this is you're just flying off the handle, making bad decisions like getting up and choosing violence instead of taking the time to understand and respond appropriately. So of course that's not all of why we make bad decisions, but that's just the sum up of why we are making bad decisions in our relationship. And now I just want to touch on the importance of making the right decisions before I get into some things we need to stop doing to rectify the issue, okay? Because we're going to give some steps to make it better, y'all. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about with the importance of making the right decisions, this is so significant. Right decisions from the beginning set the tone for your relationships. You always want to make the right decision at the beginning of your relationship, because in the beginning of your relationship, if you lie about something, guess what happens after that? Turmoil. So for those who have been with me since day one, you kind of already know the story of, long story short, I was talking to some little knucklehead when me and my husband got together, but started talking. I didn't disclose that I was talking to somebody. He found out. Basically, it's a lie, of course. It is what it is. Let's spell it out for what it is. And it kind of hurt the relationship along the way. You know, you tell a lie, and you know, when you tell one lie, you got to tell multiple other lies because you got to cover up the one lie that you told. And that's what ended up happening with me. It was turmoil. Instead of telling the truth, I set the tone for the relationship of this one bad decision turned into one of the biggest problems that we had from day one in the relationship. Set the tone. You making the right decision sets the tone for your relationship. If you want turmoil in 1 or 2 years, then you need to make the right decisions at the beginning of your relationship. Number 2 reason, why making the right decisions is important is the decisions you will make, it's going to save you time and it's going to save you confusion and frustration later down the line. Nobody wants to waste time. You start out, for example, if you start out basing your relationship on sex and then all of a sudden in a year or 3 years you want something more, you have set the woman or the man up to think that the basis of the relationship is sex. So now it's going to be hard to not attach sex as a significance to the relationship, because that's what you made the decision to base your relationship upon sex from the door. And this is a bad decision that we make in relationships. Now, I'm not saying don't do your thing. No, what I'm saying is don't let that be the center of your relationship. And of course, this was just an example for reason number 2. But moving along with this, because I do want to get to some help with this. The third thing that I want to talk about with the importance of making the right decisions is your future children, right? So who you partner with, you want to make sure that you have a good partner, because you're going to end up having a family possibly with this person. This could be your person. Pregnancy not everybody is planning pregnancy. So sometimes when you're in a relationship with somebody and it's getting good and it's feeling good, oopsie daisy, here comes baby John. And now you have baby John with somebody that you absolutely freaking can't stand. So your decisions are going to affect your future kids. It's going to affect your future life too. Also growth. The better decisions you make in your relationship, the more you can grow in your relationships. You make a decision to choose a bad partner, you can end up stagnant. You can end up complacent in your relationship. You can end up bringing unnecessary drama. And that's why it's so important. And I'm getting to a tidbit. Well, you know what? I'm going to save that because that's a reason to help you out with this. But growth. It's important to make the right decisions because it can stunt your growth going forward. It can stunt the growth personally, and not only personally, but in the relationship as a whole, and then your future relationships, right? Because what tends to happen, we tend to get into these the new relationship when we still carrying over baggage from the last relationship. Well, my last man did such and such. Well, what do you got to do with this one? Because we're stagnant, we're complacent. We made a bad decision that stunted our growth. All right. And the last thing that I want to touch on with the importance of making good decisions or making the right decisions is, honestly, you'll have overall satisfaction in the relationship. We, especially as women, we really be out here setting ourselves up for heartaches and disappointments. I don't think women understand the type of control, and I hate to say it like this, but control we have on controlling the narrative of the relationship. Letting this man know, this is what I'm not going to accept. Like, there's no leeway with this. There may be a little bit of grace with this, but there's no leeway with this. There may be a little bit of grace with that, but I'm not tolerating, you know. We can control the narrative of that, but yet we choose to set ourselves up for failure. We choose to set ourselves up for disappointments. And I had posted something about that in my stories. I forget the quote. I was trying to remember it, but I forget it. But it's true. It will help. Making right decisions is going to help with your overall satisfaction in your relationship. So let's remember those things as we journey through, you know, picking the right partner, picking our future partner, the things that we're watching for, the things that we're learning about him or her. Just make sure that you are making the right decisions, and I want to help you make better decisions in your relationship. And so to make better decisions in our relationship, the first thing that I want you guys to do is stop making decisions based on your emotions. Stop making decisions based on just pure love. Or I said this in the podcast, in the previous podcast, and I always tell people this: you can love this person to death. This woman or this man, they could be, I mean, great, right? Just the best person in the world, but that does not mean they are the best partner. And as soon as we can clarify and start asking ourselves the tough questions, we can stop making decisions based off of emotions. We have to ask ourselves, I said this in a previous podcast before, we are our own resource. And I gave a list of questions you need to be asking yourself when you get out of a bad relationship. And I'll, if you're watching on YouTube, I will put that in the link. If you're watching, listening on the podcast, I'm not sure which episode it was, but it was a more recent one where I talked about utilizing yourself as an own resource, what you can do, what you can ask yourself for a better relationship if you've come out of a bad relationship. But stop making decisions based off of emotions. Think with this right here. Ask yourself, really dig down and focus on action. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is to stop making decisions based off of selfish gain. So when you make decisions for how it's going to benefit you for selfish gain, you end up screwing yourself in the end, because while you are gaining from the selfishness, right, you could be doing something for X, Y, and Z reasons, or for money, or whatever the case may be, but in other areas that are really truly matter to you. It's kind of like Kim Kardashian, where she said she had all the money and the gifts and the material things. She wanted true love, like true companionship, somebody that she can just enjoy life with. And it's the same concept here. What is going to end up happening is you're going to be missing out on things that really matter, are going to matter to you later down the line, because all you're focused on is the selfishness. Selfishness never works out how we want it to work out, and that's what I'm here to tell you. Don't focus on how the relationship is going to benefit you in a sense of like, you know, time and materialistic things and stuff like that. The third thing that I want to tell you guys to do to help you out is to stop making decisions based off of other people. And what I mean by this is, it's okay to idolize, or not idolize, it's okay to have a relationship that you look up to, that you can model after, but don't make decisions totally based on what's happening in somebody else's home, because everybody else's story is unique. And I often tell people when they say, you know, your relationship is so great, blase, 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 your relationship goes this, that, and the third, and I'm like, well, that's all fine and good, but I would never want people to experience what Nate and I had to experience just to get this love. Now, of course, I believe everybody's going to go through trials and tribulations, but financial stress is not something everybody can get through. I'm not saying that we're nothing special, but research shows, if you look it up, finances is one of those causes of divorce. It's actually in the top 3, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody's not capable of getting through that. So if you are modeling and basing your decisions off of couple A, who's bomb, right? They're good, they're great, they're doing, you know, they're not perfect, but they're doing the best that they can to love each other, you know, love the imperfections of each other, right? They're doing all of this. But what's working for them is not going to work for you. And I see a lot of people do that. They see, they'll idolize celebrities. Well, this is working for so-and-so. So-and-so had an open marriage, blah, 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 blah. But it's not, everything is not going to work for everybody. So make decisions based off of what's going to work for you and how you, of course, God has the final say so, but how you see yourself in the future. The fourth thing that this is what I was getting ready to go into and I didn't want to earlier. Don't act so fast. We want stuff done, oh my goodness, overnight, and it doesn't work that way. Take your time making decisions, people, please. Your foundation, listen, I'm about to get hype in a minute, so I'm gonna try to calm myself down, okay? Your foundation and the time you take to build is so critical, so significant to everything that you will go through in the future. On days you don't like each other, that foundation is going to bring you back to your woes moment, your come to Jesus moment. The days where you're struggling, the days where you are falling apart, that foundation is going to bring you back. And if you don't take your time, if you act fast in that foundation, I'm not saying if you have a foundation, trouble is not going to come. No, absolutely not. But it helps you endure those trials and tribulations. The reason why people get out of relationships so quick is because they are not nurturing that foundation. They're acting fast. They're just jumping straight into a relationship with no direction. Imagine going somewhere and you don't know where you're going. Before I go anywhere, even if I know where I'm going, I get directions. You ask my husband, I go down the street, I'm putting it in the GPS because I want to know, is it a traffic jam, something going on, do I need to take another way, which way is the best? This is what the foundation does. This is why you shouldn't act so fast in your relationship, because you go in a direction that will have you lost. Don't act fast, guys. If your biological clock is ticking, if you anything that's happening to you, don't think about time. Of course time is winding up, you know, but don't think about time. Whatever is meant to be is going to be anyway. Okay? And the fifth thing that I want to talk about is addressing pros and cons. So when you're trying to make good decisions in your relationship, really sit down and talk about the pros and cons of things. If you're trying to make, you know, if you're talking about, you're looking at your budget as a couple, right? If you're talking about buying a new car, weigh the pros and cons out before you just go out as a couple and make that decision. If you're trying to buy a house, right? Me and my husband are looking at houses and stuff like that, and it is kind of up in the air, whatever. We're looking in areas that we really truly don't want to be in, but we're trying to make the best decision for us right now and our future family. We're weighing the pros and the cons. If we move on this side of town, how will we where will we put our kids in school? We're looking at all of that. You're looking at, when you're trying to buy a house, you're looking at the school district, you're looking at the neighborhood. It's the same thing that happens in your relationship. The pros and cons. It will truly help you consider what is happening in a relationship, right? And look at things from a different angle. Even when you're ready to leave a relationship, look at the pros and the cons. Look at those pros and cons, write them down. First of all, writing is cathartic anyway, to help you release those emotions, help you think, and then you can see on paper, all right, this is what my feelings are, this is how I'm feeling. And the sixth thing you can do is hit your girl up. Come on now, you can hit me up and talk one-on-one about your decision making and what's going wrong in your relationship. I'm really focused on helping people, you know, sort through their feelings and helping them make better decisions in their relationship. So for real, if you guys do want to talk to me one-on-one, feel free to hit me up at www.loveinspire.com. Now, for the month of April, I will not be taking any not applications, but not taking any clients, because I will be on vacation at the end of starting next weekend, so, or the week of April 15th. So I'm not taking any for the whole rest of the month of April, but I am available once I get back to talk to you guys one-on-one and help you with your relationship. Even still, you know, send me an email, let me know, you know, what your concern is, and we can talk about if I can actually help you sort through those feelings and those decisions. So guys, that's all I have today. I really just wanted to come on and talk about, it's crazy how coffee made me think about all of this and the bad decisions that I keep making, guys. Don't be like me and making yourself sick of relationships because you keep setting yourself up for failure. Ultimately, at some point, it doesn't become our partner's problem, it becomes our problem to fix. How are we going to address it? How are we going to move forward? So guys, today we talked about bad decisions we make. We talked about why we make bad decisions. We talked about the importance of making right decisions, and we talked about how to make good decisions in relationships. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Feel free to leave a comment, share this with somebody who needs to hear this. I love you guys all. Have a blessed day.